Okay, let's go over a not so great garden tour because we've had a lot of losses. We've had a lot of casualties since the last time I showed you. So let's just start up with the elephant in the room. This is not a cucumber. It's not a cucumber. That's a watermelon and it's not doing so great. I replaced the cucumber. I took out the cucumber. It had completely died by the time I got back out here. I think it was a combination of too much water and it's just been like absolutely scorching hot here, and my shade did not work out the way I planned. So the shade that it was going to get, it just ended up not getting. The watermelon also needs a trellis. This is the only trellis I have. Obviously it's not big enough for the trellis. I need to make more, yada yada yada. All that good stuff. Okay, let's move over here. This is the pumpkin, I think. It's doing okay, but not great. Frankly, I can probably get rid of a couple. I don't understand how, in nature, plants are fine. But when I try and take care of them, it doesn't work. So the carrots, I got a tip that it's unusual to transplant carrots, and that if you do, it needs to have a really big pot. So that's why this was the only carrot that was functioning, and all the rest of them are dying. Yeah, that seed tray full of carrots, gone. They were all dead. I think they were too squished. I don't think I got to them in time, planting them into the ground. And I think, once again, it was too hot, and my shade did not really work out. So this is the only carrot plant that's still working out. The onions are going well. I will need to plant them eventually, and I'm wondering about planting them in this circular pot, but I don't want to do the same thing to them that I did to the carrots. But they're different than carrots, you know what I mean? And then that's some kind of melon. Yes, you're a melon. I don't think it's doing too hot, but it's not growing, and so I don't want to repot it because it literally hasn't grown at all. The jalapenos are doing pretty well. Honestly, nothing to really say. One bell pepper is doing great. One bell pepper is wilting. I don't know. I'm doing the same things to them. I don't know why one is doing well and the other isn't. My early girl tomato is not doing great. It's doing okay, but it's not doing great. But my other one is actually doing pretty well. This one, frankly, I do want to transplant both of these tomatoes onto trellises because they're clearly getting really big and they clearly need this supporting area to thrive, and I don't want them to grow into the fence. So this is going to be really important. Yeah, I think my big things are, I think I'm going to put the jalapeno in here because this is a bigger pot with better drainage. I wanted to put the onions in there. I need to decide which thing I'm putting in here. And oh God, what was I about to do with these? I need to make trellises. We bought a bunch of wood and I need to make trellises for these. And the other things that need trellises. Let's go get that wood. I don't know that I'm going to be able to make the trellises today, but let's go get that. Okay, our larger wood seems to be missing, but I managed to find these are going to be a little bit. Also, I think that we, as a society, need to find a new sound for get the fuck out of the way that isn't the worst thing ever, because I don't need to hear that police siren. I don't. The street that it's coming from, you guys probably can't hear it, but the street that it's coming from has to be at least a mile or two away. There's nothing going on near me. I do not need to be able to hear, noise pollution. I did not expect this much noise pollution when I moved to a more rural area. It is shocking how many construction companies are constantly out here working. It's obviously the police siren has nothing to do with the construction companies, but also it's kind of crazy how often I've seen police officers around here flip on their lights and suddenly they're going 70 for nothing, no reason. And I promise you, there's nothing happening in this town. that they needed to do that for. They just wanted to go that fast. And then the construction companies, what are you constructing out here? Okay, no one wants to live out here unless they want to be a farmer. And the houses that you're constructing, you can't farm on that land because you're making the land as small as possible so that people can't farm. Like, I don't understand what the goal is. I mean, I do understand what the goal is. The goal is money. But, like, historically, the people that have lived in this area have been, like, cattle farmers and, like, horses and stuff like that. Animals that you need a pretty substantial amount of land for, and no one else wants to live out here. Just people who want to do farming. No one else wants to live out here. So it's not like you're gonna make this into somewhere that people want to live. It's like partly it's the weather and lifestyle and like you can't, you know what I mean? I don't think they're gonna convince anyone to move here, yet they're gentrifying it and putting up all this housing anyway. That's just gonna sit empty for the next 15, 20 years and it's just gonna be ugly. It's like, do you know how many empty, ugly houses are in like the suburbs out in, well, I guess more more into the city? You start getting into the city and like the transition between where I am and like the main part of the city is just rows and rows and rows of cookie cutter houses that I swear no one is in. There are very rarely cars in front of them. There are very rarely signs of activity, and I've done some asking. Part of it is because these are new housing. They've all come up within the last 10 years. And the realtors that bought the land and put all this shitty housing up, because that's the other thing. It's luxury housing, so it looks nice, but the quality of it is actually really shitty. And the quality of the houses that are already standing here is very good. Like, these houses are very well made. Especially out in the more rural areas, a lot of them have been around for a long time, and so they've really stood the test of time, you know what I mean? And so no one wants to live there. No one wants to live in the shitty cookie cutter houses because the type of people who like living there don't like living in a city like this, and the people who like living in a city like this don't want the cookie cutter house people. And they don't want to live near us. And so what are we doing? Sorry, this has turned into a whole rant because of the fucking siren. But truly, I hate noise pollution. I long for the sounds before the Industrial Revolution. I long for the noise of the Earth pre-Industrial Revolution. I know I prefer indoor plumbing and everything. I just think it would have been a lot quieter back then.